All right, so this is first of all, welcome to the Brown Ballers podcast.
you,
Literally
thank you.
all of us are here. You got G in the corner there. We're all here. At some point, he's going to come sit down next to me. We're going to chop it up, have some fun. We've done a little bit of content before. We did Game of Spice, which I beat you in, which was really fun last year.
Shot for the,
you didn't see that, but we played a
shorts.
game last year when I beat him.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, no. I won. Yo, I won.
You didn't
what are
remember
you talking
though.
about?
What's crazy
It's
is he
just
just
like
knew I beat him
Karam,
because I'm, the
It's
skill
just like
set.
Karam. I got two guys trying to cheat and say they won.
So I'm gonna let you guys quickly introduce yourself. We have Gokul and Venky here. We got the anime mans right here. We got the Karam world champion in the building.
champion.
But can you guys quickly give a quick introduction to yourselves and where you guys have played recently?
Yeah, so my name is Gokul. I've been playing professional basketball for about 6 years. I'm from the Bay Area, and I most recently played in Taiwan this past season. It was my first season in Asia.
And I'm Venky Jois, also 7-year pro, basketball professional, about 9-10 year pro for Karam, obviously. But yeah, most recently played in Oz, and then I had, stints in Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Japan, Germany, New Zealand.
All over.
In the G.
Yeah.
NBL, it's been a wild ride, but some of that for Karam.
So we were kind of talking about a couple things in the hotel, the elevator, in the car. First thing is your guys' favorite city that you've played in so far. Is it known already, or is it hard to pick?
Well, what is it based on? The basketball, the lifestyle?
I would say based on can you see yourself living there?
Mhm.
I think that makes sense. That's basketball, food, culture,
And that's places we played
girls,
at.
music, everything.
You want to go first?
Yeah. So for me, in Taiwan, I was in Kaohsiung, which is in the southern part of Taiwan.
Okay.
That's definitely a place I'd like. I enjoyed. There was great environment. Like the weather was great. And another very underrated spot for me that I would live in is I played in Uruguay.
Right.
That was my first
Latin.
Latin. Yeah. And so we were in the capital, Montevideo, and I was on the beach, and that was amazing.
That's a nice
So
life.
those are the two spots I would say that I could see myself.
Before Venky goes,
there.
what's the favorite food that you've had in either Uruguay or Taiwan then? Go-to dinner.
Go-to dinner.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. So, I'm a big sushi guy. So we had some good sushi spots in Taiwan because they get it from Japan.
It's fresh.
Yeah, like omakase. They got some omakase.
Omakase is so good.
But in terms of like Taiwan specific, so hot pot, amazing. And then milk tea. You gotta get
you were
milk
talking about the
tea.
milk tea.
Milk tea is amazing.
What is milk tea?
You never had milk tea?
No.
Milk tea.
You never had milk tea?
No. Like what is
Oh, yeah, bubble tea? They call it bubble tea too.
bubble tea?
pearls.
Boba?
Boba. It's all the same. All the same.
Oh, okay. No, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
There you go.
Boba.
So how about you then? Favorite city?
Favorite city? I would probably say in terms of, because America and Australia aren't too different. I played at some great places in both countries. But if it's something that's just different, when I was playing in Japan, I was playing in a province called Shiga, which is 20 minutes outside of Kyoto. And that was phenomenal. It was so dope when we talk about sushi and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even like sushi before I went to Japan. But the sushi trains, the ramen, the what is it, Korean barbecue and stuff like that.
Korean
my
barbecue is so
gosh.
good, dude.
It's just you get, all you can eat for $30, all you can drink for another 10. And so I bankrupted one of the stores, 10 minutes away from us. It was just phenomenal food. And yeah, the what do you call it? Highballs. Have you ever had that? Was that in Taiwan as well?
Highball?
Like drinks?
Highballs. Yeah, it's like a
$5 drinks or something?
No, it's like a whiskey, carbonated, I don't know how to
This is
explain it,
exotic.
man.
You seem like a big beer guy to me. I don't know why I think that.
So
Are you?
I am the opposite of a beer guy. Copious amounts of everything else, but beer is not for me. I get bloated before I would feel anything.
That's the bad thing
Yeah.
about beer.
So some people can just drink 30 cans and then pee and they're fine.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Or vomit or, whatever it is. But for me, I just keep that in my stomach,
I'm just looking at
Some
G in the
shots.
corner, and G just gave this weird.
Yeah, he's a big drinker. You guys know that, right?
What's your
what's
poison?
your-
I heard G's a Henny guy.
He's a Henny guy for
I've
sure.
heard the story.
The stories have made their rounds already to everyone. See how he
He's
got
just
up there? He
crawling
crawled
in the
up his
corner.
You can't get any more in the corner than you are.
Okay, something else we also talked about was anime. So let's just go there first. set the tone. You,
We
see,
gotta
you
start off.
see
You gotta see the
you see the shirt he's wearing already, so you know he's a
Uchiha clan,
Naruto fan.
You know, repping the Uchiha clan.
We've
but-
all, I think you kind of mentioned different animes also when
Mhm.
we're talking about it. So like for you growing up, what were the ones you watched? Because they're different than ours for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, like as a kid, we talked about Pengu before.
Yeah.
It is the worst like claymation. Is that in the States as well or no?
I have never heard of Penguin.
I've
Yeah,
never
yeah,
heard of it.
yeah.
I've
Okay.
never heard
If
of
anyone
this.
wants to check it out, you won't enjoy it, but it's like maybe like the frame rate would be like 3. But it's like this claymation. It's a story of like Pengu and his like family and just like real random shit happens. But Dragon Ball Z was huge.
Yeah,
Huge when I was
that's the
growing
heart
up.
right there. Yeah.
Goku,
Yeah,
baby,
and then Yu-Gi-Oh for sure. But obviously Pokemon. So like we would have like from my primary school all the way up maybe to like year 9 in high school, like Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh
yeah,
cards and stuff
Yu-Gi-Oh.
like that was like the thing
Were
that
you guys
wanted.
collecting them all?
Yeah, I was dueling in middle school, man.
Yeah, no, that's
I
how it was,
doing
right? Did you guys have the
I got-
binders where it
I
was?
got scammed.
Yeah, you
I got scammed. I gave a Charizard away for a Mew, but it was like from it had
was
like the Chinese characters on it, and it was like fluorescent and stuff like that. So
Oh, you got it.
some
you
older
got
kid
hustled
You
bad.
got a fake Mew.
he hustled me.
That person might have $1 million Charizard
Might
right
be
now.
the, is
You
it a
could've-
shiny Charizard?
Yeah, you could've had it.
I'm pretty sure they sell for well over at least 100.
Yeah, they're crazy right now. All the
At
cards.
least 100, but the first edition ones, yeah.
They're up there.
That's crazy.
How about you?
Well, for me, like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
Like,
Yu-Gi-Oh was classic growing up
Yu-Gi-Oh
too.
was like was
Yep.
probably my favorite anime. Like I loved it. I had the cards. I'd be dueling in middle school. Middle school lunchtime, I'd be dueling either in the library or on the lunch benches. But like Naruto is huge. I'm a big fan. I haven't even finished all of it.
Because
There's so many, so
much.
many, and I'm not even like going through the filler. I'm watching the filler episodes.
That's
I
why,
watch
yeah, that's why, yeah.
everything.
True fan.
But I think anime is just like it's the overall like I think I got initially attracted to anime because of like the fight scenes.
Yeah,
You know,
'Cause they're
it's-
so clean.
the
Yeah,
action
100%.
scenes
Yeah.
are just like
100%.
awesome. But if you like go into a deeper dive, I think it's about like obviously there's like an end goal for like an anime,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Someone needs to defeat someone,
Yeah.
but like anime is about like the journey.
exactly.
It's about the journey that the main characters, the side characters that they all go through, the struggle and like how they grow as a person and like how their struggles kind of like build them up and gives them these qualities that, you know, make them succeed later on down the line and
Mhm.
how they respond to failure. So there's like so many life lessons.
Yeah,
That's
Avatar was
that's the
deeper than it
biggest thing.
looked.
It's
Yeah, see,
so
Avatar was
Avatar
what you
deeper
mentioned,
than-
yeah.
I think people like who don't watch anime, like when I talk to them about this kind of stuff, like what you just said, they don't get it because they haven't seen it. But all the characters, all of our favorite shows, like they're all going through a deep struggle internally just to
Yeah.
figure out something in life. And like if you're a kid, you didn't click it and realize it, but now it's like
Yeah,
I learned so much from those
100%.
shows, their
So much.
leadership, the teamwork, all those small
Yeah.
things. Like it's incredible.
Yeah. No, it's
So,
it's like so
from all those
inspiring.
anime shows we've all watched, you may have probably seen a little bit more than Venky recently. But what's like that one? Is there like a definite lesson, like one character that you like? Yo, I know I'm gonna learn something from him, and I
Yeah.
did learn something.
So Naruto, I'm a huge Rock Lee fan.
Oh yeah,
like
Rock Lee's
Rock
so
Lee
sick.
is like the man because like his story, I mean, you know it, but I'll explain
Yeah.
it. But his
Yeah, explain
story
it,
is
yeah.
like he's basically he's a ninja, but he doesn't have the ability to do like ninjutsu.
Mhm.
So he can only do taijutsu. And so he's kind of at a disadvantage. And how he makes up for his disadvantage is he's like the hardest worker,
Insane.
like insanely hard worker, the dedication, the grit, the commitment. And it's all because like he wants to be a respectable ninja. And that's his goal is like, I want to be respected. I don't want to be, doubted because I am only a taijutsu
I'm
specialist.
inspired right now, man. You
Yeah.
should be a motivation.
we should go back and watch some of these
Dude,
episodes.
This
By
is
the
like
way,
really motivating. And there was like one part early on when like, I don't know, after Rock Lee versus Gaara,
one of the best.
one of the best
fights. Yeah,
One of like
Yeah.
probably my favorite fight from Naruto.
and Gaara's sick too.
Gaara's
Yeah.
dope. And then like Rock Lee has to get the surgery.
Yep.
Remember that? And
Yep.
like he has like a 50% chance
Yep.
of like or whatever, a small chance of making it. And then his sensei tells him like, look, if you don't make it through the surgery, I'll like,
Yeah.
go up with you and blah blah blah. And like but it's so inspiring. He's like the most inspiring character for me because of like his grit, determination, like in his work ethic.
Yeah.
And he
The
just
biggest
had
thing
a
that you say, he didn't have
disadvantage.
like the powers of everyone else. but he just
Exactly.
grinded everything out and
Grinded
like
everything
fast,
out.
he's strong, like, and it's like we can all relate to that. It's just basically
Yeah.
just being on the grind like
Yeah.
every single day to
Yeah.
improve yourself,
Just
right?
being a dog.
Yeah.
That's what it's. He's a dog.
And
what
that's
it's
like almost
about.
all the anime characters are like that. They're just working on themselves and their crafts,
Yeah.
right? So that's incredible. So we can talk about some of that stuff. Obviously here to play a little bit of basketball and stuff like that as well. Second time technically for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
First time for you. Ask you first, like you kind of said something, I think in the car ride over. It's like, you know, you said this, it's hit me a few times. That where you kind of just maybe paused or looked around the gym. You're like, I'm really in a gym with like 15 other brown dudes. We're all playing basketball and everyone's really good. It's a high level basketball. Like, how has this been so far for you?
Yeah, I mean, it is like odd when, you know, you're used to being the only like Indian dude on the team, and honestly, like Indian athlete, like besides like, you know, because obviously cricket's huge in Australia.
Yeah.
Like everyone kind of like filters into that. So, you know, if you watch cricket, half the team is Indian, no matter what, like, you know, league or whatever you go to. But for basketball, zero. And then like, yeah, seeing guys like Gokul or whoever
Yeah.
on the team like being legit like pros, and then us all in the same room, and then I'm just like looking around, we put our hands in, I'm like, damn, yeah, represent,
A lot
let's
of
go.
brown hands. He's like,
Right? A lot of brown hands. A lot of brown hands. But it is not, honestly, like it's just very cool, very special to be a part of. And obviously there's a lot of other things that go into it, like inspiring next generations to be like, hey, this is like a way, you know, to be a successful, like, you know, human being. Like you can take sport as far as you want it to take you,
Right.
you know, because at least for me, you know, my biggest life lessons weren't anime, but like through professional sport, I mean, it can take you across the world, and you can, you know, learn things about yourself when you're stripped away from all those comforts and you put yourself in a whole different culture.
Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
and I think if people, if more Indians knew about like, you know, that side of professional sports,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's not this useless thing. Like, what are you wasting your time on?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, for
Totally
me, there
agree.
are so many there's so many places in the world that like I would have never even thought about going to if it wasn't for basketball.
Yeah.
Like, you
The
know,
game
and
took you everywhere. Yeah.
100%.
yeah.
100%.
And it's like, it's so cool. Like whether you're living in the place that you're playing, or like maybe you have a holiday and you can go to a nearby country,
Right.
but you just like interacting with people, seeing their experiences, and well, especially like living there. Like it's one thing to go to somewhere for a week and just kind of like be on a holiday or a
Yeah.
vacation. But
Yeah.
like when you live somewhere for like 6 months, 8 months, and you're truly immersing yourself in the culture, like that's
It's
a
different.
unique experience that
Yep.
you'll never get
Exactly.
if we didn't play basketball. And I'm sure you kind of
Yeah.
understand that too.
it's like double-edged too. It's like, not only is it things like, hey, wow, I really like this from that culture, but it's also like, yeah, when you take away things, you realize just how like privileged and special the place that you live in is, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's so important.
So like
Yeah.
I've you know, played for teams and you know, lived in places where it's like really, you know, luxury. And that was awesome, but I've also played in the worst of the worst. I've played in some, you know, like there's been some dark times, you know. But honestly, like I wouldn't take that back either, because, you know, like my perspective change, you know, when I come back, it's like, thank God I'm in America.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm in Australia. And you all of a sudden, you know, I think my girl, when she came with me, she's never been so happy to be like a consumer of
Yeah.
like Starbucks and Chick-fil-A and all of this. Like, all of a sudden we get back to LA and she's just so happy, and like everything is, you know, bright and shiny, and she's like, I can't wait to go here and here. And obviously like that's not that deep, but it does make you appreciate life more, you know? And that's through basketball, man. Like
Yep.
that's we
I
wouldn't
would-
get that opportunity.
Yeah. I always say this. And G, you want to come see here, bro? Come see here. Oh, he looks sad in the
He
corner.
likes that corner.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is just like, this is something we can both obviously agree on and feel a part of. Is like, for me, like obviously never being able to play professional or whatever, any link past university, it's still crazy, because even for you, obviously you didn't play professional. Like basketball, it took you to the NBA and so much further. It's allowed me to build brands, allowed us to do this, have these teams. Like it affects, a sport can affect you in so many positive ways,
Yeah.
even when you're not playing. I think that's what makes the game so beautiful. Question I want to ask you guys is, imagine there's some aunties and uncles watching right now, right? Which they probably are going to be
Hi,
watching,
auntie.
right? Yeah. Hi, auntie, hi, uncle. Like, what would you like tell them? Like, because I think what you guys just said is powerful. Like, the ability to travel, to go experience what it's like to play these sports and these games. Like, a lot of kids won't have the opportunity because the parents don't understand it. But is there something you guys would like say to those parents or those kids, like make them push through that or want to take that risk or take that opportunity?
So I'll touch up on this. So like, I think when looking at like, opportunities of like, hey, going abroad to play, going somewhere else to play in a different environment, that's first and foremost uncomfortable. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is it doesn't work out. You're going to fail. But some of the best learning experiences in life is when you're away from that comfort zone of family, your hometown city, doing what you're supposed to do, like being that academic student and going to these places where like, we talked about it. You might not even get paid. Like teams might be late on your checks or your living conditions might be bad, like the worst of the worst when you're playing professionally. And at the end of the day, those things like will really, like, it sounds cliche, but it really does help you out in the later stages of life. Because like for me personally, I feel that like whenever I'm done playing with basketball and I go to like, whatever I'm going to do, like I can honestly tell myself like whatever, like what I was doing in basketball in those previous countries that when I had a really tough time, I don't think it'll ever be as hard as that.
Right.
In
You got
any
through the
any
worst
new
time.
any new situation. And so like, yeah, so like that adversity is going to be like huge for my growth and development. And it might not be evident at first, but like it really does pay dividends later down the line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think for talking to, parents and stuff like that, I never told my parents this. So if they watch this podcast, you're going to hear something
this is
new.
Venky exclusive. Hold on.
Yeah. So I actually overheard them when I was maybe like 13 or so. My mom was saying in the kitchen to a whole bunch of like other, I think like family members and, like basketball mums and dads. She said, like, what do you do? It's tough because you have to like drive your kids hours to here, pay hundreds of dollars on uniforms, on, basketball this, basketball that. It takes a lot of time and a lot of money, which parents often don't have, right? And basically, saying to me, who was just in earshot, she didn't know I was listening, that yeah, you're not, this is kind of pointless, but they're just doing it because you love the game. But I thank her so much that they did it. They might have thought that I wasn't going to make it, but I'm so glad that they did give me that opportunity, right? Because it would have been easy for them to just say,
Just
come on,
no.
what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So and then we've touched on, kind of like what you can get out of it. But I think going the other way, like with, the young bucks, like, as long as you love the game and then give yourself the opportunity to like just go, consistency and great habits is how you're going to open up the doors to do, what Gokul's done and experience the highs and lows, which is the beautiful thing about basketball, both of them.
Exactly. I want to ask you guys something else. Could be deep, could not be deep. You guys have obviously seen what we're doing with India Rising and Brown Ballers, and you've seen it for 2 years now. It's been a lot of growth. It's been a lot of fun. Is it actually like affecting you guys like in a positive way? Are you guys actually, I know you guys follow it obviously, but are you guys actually seeing it, seeing some of the stories, being intrigued by this, some of the, maybe the stories we're telling, some of the athletes we're featuring? And are you guys like excited about like where it's going into the future, for like the next generation to actually have this platform to feel a part of?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see, people that like I might not have ever heard of, like other athletes, like let's say outside of basketball, that are really doing their thing and, doing something, like in their own sport that like there's a lot of Indian basketball players, relative to other sports for Indian people or for brown people. But like, other like sports aren't as big in the brown community. Like I wouldn't have heard of these athletes. And I think it's really cool to like recognize that because they're putting in the same dedication, commitment to their craft, to their sport as a basketball player would. It's just maybe not as well known. And so it's cool to see those people doing their own things. And I appreciate that, seeing, men and women kind of like being trailblazers and carving their own path. And it's something that I would have never seen if it wasn't for the platform. And like we're overseas. So Like you are, when you're overseas, you are not in touch with what's going on at home. So it's great to like have the brown ballers so I could like kind of keep up with that because we do want to support.
Yeah, no, credit to you guys, man. This is so special, and I'm loving it. Like, this is sick. This is so dope. It really is. So yeah, thank you to you guys first for the opportunity. But yeah, no, it's just special. It's special to be a part of. I think that, you know, I felt like, trying to like go to college and basically just do it for academics and do like pre-med, it was just something that's just me and my family or whatever. But then coming here, you listen to all the stories like, yeah, guys who are legit doctors, that have,
Yeah.
from all, like the highest levels of academics and sports and being successful in both. I think, Indian or not, those are really inspiring stories, and forever, hears it. It's cool. Yeah.
I think to your point earlier on like talking to aunties and uncles out there and trying to kill these stereotypes that have kind of held the culture back for a while. Like sports isn't forever. We used to throw that number around a lot at the league, right? Your average NBA career, and it differs if you're overseas or whatever, but it's like 4.5 years. Overseas, maybe it's a little bit longer, but the ball stops bouncing after a little bit of time.
100%.
And I think the thing that a lot of parents struggle with when they put their kids into sports, Desi parents, is like, oh, well then what happens next? Or is this forever? And I think the coolest thing about this platform is that we get a chance to show how, and you're really humble about it, but I love it. Like you're getting a master's in computer science while playing pro overseas. Like academics and athletics are not mutually exclusive. And we have this idea that it is.
Yeah.
Pre-med, orthopedic surgeons. We don't have that image as a culture that like both is possible.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to have you guys come spend a week plus with us in a city like Dayton, Ohio. We love Dayton, Ohio. Okay, we love Dayton, Ohio, but
in a city as great as Dayton, Ohio.
As great as Dayton, Ohio is.
Wording.
No. I mean, this stuff isn't possible without player buy-in because I'll say, as the GM of this team, for the amount of stories and players I reach out to, not everyone commits. Not everyone buys in. So when people do, that's why we're able to push the culture forward and achieve great things. So it just means a lot.
Yeah. Hey, pleasure to be here, man. You guys made it happen.
This is great for like a community and for like, like you talked about trying to shift the mindset of trying to say, hey, you guys can do academics and athletics at once. I think it's huge.
I think even just like showing that sports can do a lot for you. Like the path to being a successful human being isn't just study your ass off. Make sure that you are secure financially. You get a good husband or wife, and then family. Okay, you're done.
And that's it.
And then next generation, let's do the same thing. Like that's not the only path.
Okay, so last night at the dinner, related to that point, like the amount of midlife crises that happen in the Brown community is like really high.
Yeah.
Like extraordinarily high. And you have like that our age, we're all like 28 to 35, let's call it, like on this team. Like there are trade-offs when you don't pursue your passions. Like, yeah, you might be secure from 19 to 26, and then what? You're down bad.
Yeah.
Like the amount of years I've seen in that bucket, like I'm sure you guys have seen that too.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? Even amongst like basketballers, because the NBL back home is a super highly respected league, one of the best leagues in the world. But talking to, my contemporaries and stuff, there's a lot of guys who are like, I wish I wouldn't have just like stayed in Australia and played basketball because they're 10 years into their career. Now they're kind of a little bit too old. Maybe they do have families now. Maybe, there's a lot of reasons why they might have to hang up the boots or just stay in Oz. But like, yeah, I can't imagine, I think Sai said it best when he's like, I would be kicking myself if I didn't just find out, hey, can I do this? So my words of encouragement would be just like Gokul said, kind of put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Go for broke, like go take it as high as you can. because you'll be surprised what you learn with failures or successes. You know, like we've had both, and both are
of
beneficial,
failures.
man. So I think yeah, maybe even highlighting, you know, kind of like what we've learned through basketball is another thing, you know, in itself to strive for, you know.
It's like the Giannis quote that like what's the exact quote exactly? It's like we learn through failure.
There's no
Oh,
such thing as failure in
There's no
sports.
such thing as failure in sports. The specific case study is a guy on our team. I won't reveal his name. He's here working on job applications to work in sports. Like we're working on the cover letter together at night. Um, every single case study or talking point he has, which is so unique, is because he's been a pro athlete.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't
Yeah,
have that
yeah.
experience, like that is a +1 to getting the
Yeah.
dream job that pays you a lot of money, having done the pro athlete lifestyle. So
Even with that too, like when you're an athlete, like we played pro, I do think that like if I was to go out of into like an industry like tech or something, in my case, I think that everything I've done as a pro athlete, like what I've learned, my bad experiences, my good experiences, it actually really does prepare me, and like the skills I've learned from just being on a team and playing basketball, you know, and having to struggle and grow. It's like it's super helpful in preparing me for the next stage of life.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that I might not have gotten if I just, you know, gotten a normal job using my degree coming out of college, like things I would not have even learned. So there's so many things to be grateful for
Yeah.
that basketball really helps with later.
I think
in life.
even like from a relationship standpoint, like we wouldn't be here without basketball, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and this is super cool. This
It
is going to
connects
be like
us.
a highlight, you know, for me that I'm going to be telling people about for a long, long time,
Right.
you know? Super cool to be a part of, but it doesn't exist without basketball. And, you know, I have people in my life now that I consider are my family, right? That if I never took the jump and went to the US to play basketball at Eastern Washington, would never have met them. And it's crazy to me because those are some of the most important people in my life.
Mhm.
Whether or not they, you know, like, I mean, they all did have a significant impact on me, but like, I don't know what my life would have been like without exposure to, you know, to the whole journey and meeting everyone on the way. Like, I really don't. It would be such a shame. You
I think
know?
so many people are afraid to take those leaps, you know, take those risks. But like we've all taken those risks in different stages in our lives, and it's allowed us, like you said, to come together and do these types of things. Like I think we're all saying the same thing. Of essentially, great. I told the coach Amit this the other day. Like greatness begins at the end of your comfort zone. He wrote it on one of the practice
Yeah,
plans.
that's a great
It's just like
quote.
that's
a great
all it is,
quote.
man. It's like, and a lot of people are afraid to do that. But once you realize you can do that and take those risks, like look how different your life can be, and like how much better, honestly, it can be.
Oh, and especially with basketball, like, well, for me, like drawing on my story and a lot of the guys here this weekend, it's like in one way or another, a lot of the guys have been like overlooked in some aspect.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
like for me, it was like college recruiting, which was like really like a very bad, like to be honest, a very bad
Bad
experience for me. And so like as we talk about how basketball helps us later in life, it's like when you're up against the wall and you're, you know, in your mind, you're an underdog, like how do you respond? Like,
Right.
you know, basketball is not the most flashiest path in our culture. And especially like I was never a 5-star prospect. I was a 0-star prospect. You know, I was a 0-star prospect. So it would have been way more logically, would have been way
Just
more
stop.
financial sense to just stop. But like that underdog mentality, and you love the game. When you love the game so much, you just want to prove people wrong, and it's more than that. You want to prove yourself right. You know, and I think
Absolutely.
that is another thing that it's not traditional. There's no financial gain, but like betting on yourself is and believing in yourself, whether or not you end up, you know, achieving your goals, is like something that really translates into a post career.
Agreed. Do you guys believe in the power of manifest? I know we're getting kind of deep here, but do you
This
guys
is a
believe in the
deep
power of
podcast.
manifestation?
I,
Because
I,
essentially, he's talking about similar things, like kind of betting on yourself.
I think through the process of like doing that, you start to focus on like positives and you start to give out an energy that people will be receptive to, you know? So like even in your guys' case, right? Without you being like interiorizing the picture of like what it can be and what it could be, right? If you would sold it in a more, realistic and pragmatic. Hey, some things might be real bad. It'll probably go like this.
We're gonna put
Yep.
you in a really hot
Right. If you don't, I just think that, like positivity and like good energy brings people around you that have positivity and great energy, and those are the people who want to go the extra mile. And
Exactly.
I
Yep.
think that's the biggest, so whether you call it power of manifestation or you just want to say that it's, I don't know, get excited, be positive, be a good human
Just
being.
being a good person. Yeah.
You're gonna attract those same people, and when you
Mhm.
have those people in your corner, it's a collaboration,
Yeah.
and that's when you can lean on people for support. But I think if you're a little more into yourself, you don't have that support network, and you're not going to have someone who builds you up too.
I was
Exactly.
like that. Like, I mean, like when you play though basketball, you tend to be like, you're overseas, like you're to yourself. It's like unless you're with like your partner or someone, you're to yourself. So like for me, I was like, I'm, I'm isolated, but like I've grown to accept that. But like part of it, which is the bad side of things, is that like, you're turned away from, you exclude yourself from like, something like this where we're trying to like bring these guys together and be like, hey, we have a support system. This is the support system that
Yeah.
you're talking about. Like, this is the support system for brown athletes. And like, you don't have to do this by yourself. And I think that's super important, that we need to be there for each other and accept that this is a thing that, hey, we're trying to, it's for future generations to
Yeah.
support each other and give us a platform to show who we are.
My biggest thing, like now being 30 and playing for so long, is like that's one of my biggest passions, is giving back to basketball, because I've had so many people in my basketball community that have like lifted me up,
Mhm.
and so thankful for them. And it's now like a passion that gives me a lot of, so rewarding to like,
Yeah.
train kids, buy them lunch, like, show them, the way.
Beat him in Carom.
Beat him in Carom, obviously. No kids beating me in that game. That's a challenge, open challenge to
Open
anybody out
challenge.
there.
Next time, obviously next year we'll be back. Hopefully you guys will come back and join us. We're gonna make sure we
There
have
needs to be
sponsorship dollars
championship.
to buy at least 2 carom boards
need at least
and the
2.
full setup.
You have no idea how
seriously.
excited I was. Did you see me when I first saw the Carom board?
We played a game and then I'm like, all right, guys, dinner break. And then like I'm midway through dinner. He's like, Gokul, let's go. Let's go.
But I haven't
Game
played
two.
that. I hadn't played that probably like 10 years. The last time I was at India, man. Like it's been a long time. And that just brought back, childhood memories and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Because we used to have a board at home and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, no, that was super cool. I think that night, great food, great people, carom games.
Shout out to the Masala man, right?
Masala
Masala
man.
man.
Yeah, the Masala man.
I've got an apron now. I'm one of the Masala men. So shout out,
Masala man.
shout out
You're right, I
Karen.
did have an apron.
That's your brand, yeah.
Masala man.
We're taking-
Masala man. That's right.
We're taking the
Ooh.
Masala men worldwide.
So look, man, I think I speak for both of us when I say like we're very appreciative of having you guys on our side, a part of this, what we're building. And like you said, we're trying to build a community, right, for the next generation, but also for us, because we're still going to be around for a long time.
Story
hopefully.
doesn't end with TBT.
No,
Yeah.
It's like
there's a small piece of the story. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the basketball story is like just beginning in terms of
Yes.
like you said, it's my second year here, but I see the difference, the growth from year 1 to year 2. And it's like there's a core group of guys I'm seeing that it's like, okay, we've got something.
Yeah.
Like we really do. And like it's super exciting, like moving forward, because like we see all these teams out, they're alumni teams, they play together. But
Right.
like after year 2, we're gonna be kind of like an alumni.
we are like alumni team.
We're
yeah.
kind of like an alumni team. Like now I know there's a Venky. Now I know there's, all these guys. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, okay, you look like, yo, we got
We got a
something.
squad, man.
We actually got something.
We got
like,
talent.
You want an equity stake?
Look, man, I just want to hoop now.
He basically said no.
Look, man.
He's like, no.
Okay,
Look,
that's when you take basketball too far and you don't get economics.
Look, man, I just want to hoop, man. No, but it's cool though. Like I think it's the beginning of like basketball stuff, and like representation wise, we see it in like Hollywood,
Mhm.
but now it's like let's see it in like sport.
Yeah.
Like let's bring this representation, South Asian representation, to sport. And so it's like just starting, and I love it.
Well said.
So if you guys didn't know, you guys are Brown Ballers. This is the Brown Ballers podcast. So thank you guys for coming out here. Thank you for traveling to be here with us. Got a big game tomorrow, so let's hold it down and keep coming together.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.